Okay, so your first statement, okay. Let's just ignore all of the very clear left-wing propaganda, the red and black colors, the symbolism of crushing a corporation. Yeah, let's ignore all of that and get to the nitty-gritty of the whole thing that I was bringing up. I just always find it to be very funny that most of these progressive left-wing movements call for pretty much workers to not go to work, which that's going to help their financial situation. So pretty much you guys mobilize by doing strikes, by protesting in the streets, by essentially committing into sick days and not really doing much of anything else. Which I guess it's admirable in some ways. I mean, you guys are pretty good at getting people mobilized, and that's a good thing. But most of the time, these things fail for a reason because there's nothing that happens afterwards. The protest is ultimately meaningless, or it goes out to the streets and then it becomes violent. Congrats, I guess. Now, that wouldn't apply to every single protest, and I understand that, or every single strike, and I understand that. But at the same time, this assumption that you can't have conversations about financial literacy. I mean, you're using TikTok right now. There's probably thousands of other left wingers like yourself that are also using TikTok, but you're not using it, your access to the internet to learn about finances. I guess this is what separates the right wing and the left wing. The right wing is very good at having discussions about financial, things in general, financial literacy, educational seminars, etc., etc., etc. But we're not as good as mobilizing people, and I can admit to that fact. But when you're going out there and mobilizing your people to ultimately do what? Be sick for 3 days, does that actually help you financially? Does it help anybody financially? I understand the purpose. You want to be angry, you want to be upset at corporations because they're underpaying you. Congratulations. But being underpaid is better than not being paid at all. And being underpaid in general would still give you access, some levels of access to that financial goal that you probably would want to have if you have a normal brain. And then the other option is just not going to work, missing out on those approximately anywhere between 40 to $150 per day for those 3 days of you guys missing work. To me, it just makes no sense. This doesn't propel our people financially, especially Latinos. This simply just shows that the left is really good at mobilizing people, but not effective when it comes to their goals of, bringing up their people financially, bringing up their people and educating their people about finances. I mean, it's silly. It's silly. Like, let's say you get what you wanted when it came to your, protest. You wanted to increase your wages, for example. It reminds me of that one saying, pretty much, if you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. What do you think financial literacy is? If people are more financially literate, they can eat for a lifetime. And then some.